Hey, I'm Adam D with the Local Connect and KW Realty, and we're back for another market update. This month, June 2024. As you know, every month we put out these videos because the most common question I get is, how's the market? Well, I want to give you a brief summary and then we'll dig into the numbers and look and see exactly what's happening locally here in the South Jersey Shore, as well as all across the entire United States. So over the past month or so, we've continued to see this trend of fewer transactions. Inventory has picked up a little bit, meaning there are more properties on the market in a lot of areas here, and the number of properties going under contract or selling has gone down a little bit compared to previous years. Now, we make that comparison lightly because we know we had some of these what we call unicorn years immediately after COVID, which were just anomalies. So now we're trending back into more of a normal market. If that inventory continues to increase, we may start to shift from a seller's market to a buyer's market. We're not seeing that yet in most areas, particularly with affordable properties and condos, both on the islands and offshore. However, there are a couple towns, single families, luxury price points that have seen a bigger increase in inventory. Overall, myself, boots on the ground, I've still seen a lot of multiple offer situations, particularly in the average price points, nice condition properties, still very, very competitive. Interest rates have not gone down. In fact, they, tick back up and down again, and they keep going back and forth a little bit, but still hovering maybe just over 7%, given, the day or when you watch this video. There is still some predictions that rates may come down a little bit in the end of summer, say February or so. There's been some counter arguments to that too, so we'll wait and see what actually happens there. But in the near future, I don't see any significant changes to the market. We're probably going to continue dealing with much of the same as far as there not being a whole lot of properties to choose from, but at the same time, due to the lack of transactions, inventory may increase just a little bit, particularly through the summer here. So let's dig into the numbers and take a look and see exactly what's going on in the market for June 2024. All right, so here we can see across the United States, housing inventory has been increasing over the last few years. It's still not back to pre-pandemic levels, but compared to the last few years, we've seen a significant increase in inventory or homes available for sale. Now, what I wanted to do is take a look at our local market here. This is Cape May, Atlantic counties, the shore points and the immediate offshore communities. And you can see we're comparing 2022, 2023, and 2024 month supply of inventory. And you see we've been on a little bit of an upward swing the last couple months here, and we're certainly higher than we were 2 years ago in 2022. So keep that in mind as we look at new listings. And you can see that over the entire area, new listings is actually down a little bit relative to where we were 2 years ago, but also pending listings are down significantly, meaning the properties that are going under contract. You can see that the 2024 this year, the bar is the lowest on this graph. So that kind of correlates with inventory going up a little bit due to the fact that there are not as many properties going under contract. So here's a wider picture of the inventory levels compared to national averages. And you can see for the most part, our local area here is following the national trends for the most part. Not so much on new listings. You can see in May, we really were down on new listings, and nationally wasn't necessarily the case. So some differences locally here. Pendings, somewhat similar. Again, we didn't see a big increase in pendings, particularly when we have a spring or late spring market where that would be more normal. You could see that compared to last year in 2023, these pendings are actually lower. Now, there was a recent news article that a lot of people noticed with one of our large markets, Ocean City here, that they had the most new listings. And so not all the data in this article I agreed with, but one thing that I really focused on was the single family home listings in Ocean City. And those numbers are very telling and actually don't follow the trends that we looked for the overall area. So if you wanted to look at only Ocean City, this is kind of an outlier that sticks out. If we look only at single family homes, now the market's primarily condos, you could see there's been a large increase of single family listings this year, really shooting up recently in the spring of 2024. And the ones going under contract have not followed the same trend. They've actually gone down recently. So more homes on the market, less going under contract, and less selling as well. These are the ones that are actually selling or closing. And so because of that, that's causing inventory or supply to increase. So Ocean City has a good amount of single family homes, particularly in that luxury market, 2.5 to 3 million, hanging around on the market a little bit right now. So we will monitor that and see if that changes over the next few months. Now, looking at all of Atlantic County, you could see that the overall graph all the time, it doesn't look like we have a lot of change in inventory. We're still in a buyer's market, less than 3 months. But if I look just this year, you can see again, we do have a significant increase in inventory just from March to May here. So we will monitor that. And the same is true in Cape May County. When we stretch this graph out, it doesn't look like there's any significant changes. But we really zoom into this year, you can see there's been quite an increase in inventory this spring. And again, 4 months, it's still for the most part a seller's market, but as we get to 5 and 6 months, that's really going to bounce us into a neutral market if this trend continues. Now, looking overall at interest rates, you could see that we're low sevens, as the time of this recording of this video. We saw a little bit of a peak, last week where it went up over, well over 7%, but we're kind of bouncing back down to some of those 7% numbers. Again, this changes every day with the market, jobs reports, employment numbers, inflation data, et cetera, et cetera. So the mortgage rates will continue to adjust based off of the other market data. I think this is really helpful for both buyers and sellers when you're looking at, this is buyers walking through the door and seeing homes for sale right now, still very high numbers in 2024. So there's a lot of buyers walking through houses, despite there possibly being less houses available or being under contract or whatever it may be. But, if you're a seller, this means there's still buyers out there looking, certainly. And if you're a buyer, it means you're competing with other buyers because look how many of them are out there looking. I don't know that we'll ever see a 2020 year again. I mean, that was, again, a unicorn anomaly, but 2024 is very, very competitive with showings right now. So that's good and indicates a strong market looking at that statistic. Now, trying to predict the future a little bit, all of these experts at the bottom of the screen here are still predicting appreciation or prices to increase through the remainder of this year. But unlike what we saw in 2021 and 2022, again, we're probably not going to see double-digit appreciation, more of a normal market experience of appreciating a few percent or so. And we refine this from the different experts every month with your mortgage rate projections. You will notice that these projections are now much higher than they were in the beginning of the year, but they are still projecting a decline in rates throughout the end of the year into next year, just a much more modest decline than what we're looking at in the predictions at the beginning of the year. And this is just another look at that, how it might be a step down in rates as we go forward. The next big time that we'll probably see this is come late August and in September as we have the next Fed meeting for the federal rate. So there you have it. That's a look at the numbers for this month's market update. Again, if you're selling right now, it's more important than ever to pay attention to the inventory levels and see how much competition you have. The best time to sell is always a time where you're competing with the least amount of properties. While we can't predict the future, it seems to be that there's a trend of increasing inventory right now. If you're a buyer, it seems unlikely that there's going to be significant rate reductions in the near future. There may be a little bit of a drop, but then you have to weigh the risk and reward of, is that going to cause you to compete with more buyers if rates do go down? Thanks again for viewing. If you could please hit the subscribe button, that way you're alerted of the next video. I know sometimes these go out by email, but not everybody gets the email. Sometimes they go to spam. So if you hit that subscribe button, be sure to know about the next video as it comes out about all things real estate here at the South Jersey Shore.